station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
Thank you for tuning in. 25 minutes before 10 o'clock, a lot of you realize that Robert and I spend some time every now and then at assisted living facilities and other facilities like that. They have different names: assisted living, nursing home, or retirement homes. They all got different names, right? And of course, our role is very simple and very brief. Our role is to play music. We play music, and it's just fun. Lately, we've been doing it a lot, and we get to see the facilities. And the one thing that is common with all the facilities, the people are so beautiful, and I'm talking about the residents as well as the staff, but mostly the staff right now, because I just wanted to point out that I think that the staff make the big difference. Yeah, and yet, as wonderful as that is, there's no place like home. And I have a story real quickly. I actually worked for an assisted living facility, 15 years ago or more?
Yes, you did.
And I was the activities director, so I had no health knowledge at all. And I had to drive people places, basically. And one lady asked me if I could drive her to her home so she could get some stuff. And I did. And she said, "Okay, you can go now." And I said, no, I can't leave you here. And of course, what was I gonna do? She decided she wanted to live at home. Well, there is a group, and we've known about Home Instead Senior Care for a long time already. And if I had known about you guys 15 years ago, I don't know or not. Jim Samuelson is an old friend. He's been with us before. This first time in the new studios.
That's correct. First time here.
So good to see you again, Jim. And Jim is the owner of Home Instead Senior Care. And he's brought a pretty lady with him. Sonny, is it Mehaffey?
That's correct.
Sonny Mehaffey, you're a home care consultant, so we're going to learn about what you do, what your profession does, the history behind it, but there's also something happening tomorrow I want to make sure we get in here. It's a workshop, and that's happening at the bridge, right?
Yes.
Not too far from here, right?
Bridge Assisted Living.
Right behind the mall. Okay. So Jim Samuelson, Sonny Mahaffey, good morning to both of you.
Yeah, it's exciting to be back. Good morning.
Yeah, good. How have you been?
It's been great. I'm trying to think when was the last time I was on your show. And it had to be now over 2 years because I haven't been to the new studio, and this is just a beautiful place.
And I think we've been here, 3 years now? So.
Almost, yeah.
Wow, so it's been a while. But I also have to say that when I go out into the assisted living community and our nursing homes, I have seen Robin and Larry there making a difference for the lives of our seniors here in the community.
Oh, that's sweet of you to say. Yeah. Nowhere near the difference that you make, though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, the work that you do is nothing compared to what we do. We're just an attraction or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But you do brighten their days and make a difference when you're there.
It is interesting to see how much something so little makes a difference. So being home, I mean, when you're our age, okay, and you're free to go anywhere you want, and that's, God's blessing, thank you. But I can go to a motel. I can stay in this luxurious place. Mm-hmm. And some of these facilities look like those places. But I can't imagine not being able to go home from that place. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we're talking about. Even though these facilities are great and the people who work there are awesome, there's no place like home.
No place like home, and everybody wants to be at home.
Yeah. So how do you do it? What is the secret?
Well, it's really the goal of our company is to help our senior clients live independently and stay at home for as long as it's possible for them to safely do so. And while we also do work in assisted living communities and nursing homes and even in the hospitals, really our main focus is to help our senior clients remain independent, in their home environment. That's where they want to be. When they can do that safely, they do very well there, and they enjoy life, enjoy their friends and their family. So that's what we do each and every day. And Home Instead Senior Care is the largest provider in the world providing this kind of service. We're right now in 10 different countries, 4 different continents.
Wow.
We have over 1,000 offices worldwide, all focused in on that single goal to help our senior clients maintain their independence and stay at home.
The culture in America, and maybe in some other countries today, but in America it used to be everything was done at home. Grandma's old, no big deal. We'll make a room for her. Right? Mm-hmm. She'll move in with us. we got away from that somehow.
That's correct.
And so a lot of countries, maybe they never got away from it. Am I right?
That's correct. In different cultures, the seniors are, have a different place in the family. But in our society today, families are dispersed. And even when families are close by, people are working, you have kids, everybody's busy. So taking care of mom and dad and making sure that they're in a safe environment, that they have the support systems in place, is a lot of times difficult for families and creates a lot of stress and conflict within families as well.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunately, part of our culture. And the issue is compounded because we have an aging population. More and more people are turning 65. As a matter of fact, I'm one of those. My wife Mary's turning 65 next month.
She's not listening, I hope.
No, she won't mind me sharing that. And I'm turning 65 in July, so that I'm part of that population. Over 8,000 people every day now.
Wow.
Baby boomers are turning 65. So that population is growing, which is increasing that stress level and increasing the issues for aging seniors today.
So when you talk about, let's talk about prescriptions, is it actually the prescriptions that people get from their doctors, or is it a prescription for good life so you can stay with your families?
Well,
oh yeah, that's a good question.
Well, what's happening today is that seniors are living longer. So that as people live longer, they're impacted by more and more chronic diseases, sometimes one or more. They're impacted by dementia and memory issues. So as you go to the doctor to address these things, more and more prescriptions are being prescribed. Our studies show that of that age group, people over 65, 57% of them today are taking 4 or more medications.
See, and this is maybe one of the reasons I think people justify putting mom into a nursing home. Because they say, she's got so many medical needs. I'm not a nurse. I don't know one from another. I'll visit her every day, and some people really do. Mm-hmm. Some people don't. We've all known many people who are in nursing homes who have had no visitors, and
that's correct.
That's just a shame. So the person who stays at home with your organization, do they have somebody visiting them every day? Is that how that works?
It's really all over the board with our company. We have a team of caregivers that are our employees that go out into the community and visit our clients, sometimes once a week, twice a week, up to 24/7 care. It really depends on the situation and the levels of care provided. And one of the services that we do provide is we call it medication reminders. But the ability to manage medications in the home is significant, because when a senior loses the ability to do that, their opportunities to stay independent are reduced significantly. So it's one of the key factors that limit someone's ability to stay at home. If you're on multiple medications and you have a difficult regimen of different times during the day, different medications you might be taking, and you are unable to effectively manage that, it does threaten independence.
Mm-hmm.
And is that one of the things that you're going to stress tomorrow at the free workshop for medication management?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the issue at hand, because I guess the good news is that here in Marion County we're impacted doubly, because we have twice the number of seniors on the national average. The national average is about 12%. We have about 24%. All you have to do is drive down 200. This time of year, you'll know that. Yeah. So all of our issues, as they impact the senior community, are kind of doubled here locally in Ocala and Marion in County. But the good news is that of the surveys we've done, most seniors are able to manage their medications effectively. About 80% of them say they can, but that leaves a fair amount, 1 in 5, that say they have difficulty managing their medications. And that might be just reading the prescription bottles, opening them, managing the cost, knowing when to take the medications. But that's still a significant number. And what we also find in that group, about 10% of them have admitted to making medication mistakes, which many times leads to medical issues, trips to the hospital and the emergency room.
Does your clientele include people who are not necessarily older? I mean, do you have people in 30s and 40s who need home care?
We have 1 or 2 in that category, but what we specialize in is the older senior. Most of our clientele is actually in their 80s and 90s.
Is that right?
Yes.
Jim Samuelson, Sonny Mehaffey. You haven't gotten a word in yet, Sonny. I promise. On the other side of the break, we'll do more. We'll direct more questions to you.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Sonny Mehaffey and Jim Samuelson and find out more about the seniors workshop happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. Not too far from here, over at the bridge. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For Monday, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in the area, high 81 to 85. It'll be partly cloudy Monday night with a shower or thunderstorm in spots early near the coast. The low 60 inland, 67 along the coast. Tuesday, partly sunny with a shower and thunderstorm or two popping up, high 78 to 82. For Wednesday, partly sunny with an afternoon shower or thunderstorm, high 80 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
The day has arrived for the annual golf tournament between rival clubs. Whether golf is your game or not, you're bound to enjoy Fox on the Fairway. Live on stage at Ocala Civic Theater, this hilarious farce pits two rival country clubs against each other in the annual tournament. It's a competition filled with romance, screwball comedy, and a surprise ending. Any way you slice it, Fox on the Fairway is a winner. On stage now through April 17th. For tickets and information, check OcalaCivicTheater.com or call 352-236-2274. Don't miss it.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us number one. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Yes, in Italy, sales of pasta are down 25%. But you know what everybody is buying? Sushi. Essentially, researchers are discovering that our self-image gets set in high school, and no matter what happens after that, that's pretty much how we see ourselves for the rest of our lives. Drinking alcohol every day can decrease our body's ability to burn fat by almost 75%. Yikes.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hey, I'm Gary.
And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
WWWWOCA
This is WOCA, News Talk 1370.
This is James Snyder, inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Jim Samuelson and Sonny Mehaffey are here from Home Instead Senior Care. There's a new public education program titled Let's Talk About Prescriptions, and there's a medication management for seniors workshop happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the Bridge, which is an assisted living facility. Am I saying that right?
That's correct.
At 2800 Southwest 41st Street, Building 200, if you're familiar with that. It's a free event, and it's right around the corner from where the mall is here, just I guess you say, sort of kind of behind the mall. So, Sonny, we haven't said a word to you. What did you do? What do you do? Are you one of the people who goes into the homes?
I help Jim in marketing and getting the message out about Home Instead to the public, to the caregivers, the physicians, the medical community, as well as individuals. I had a personal experience where about 12 years ago, overnight, my mother was announced terminally ill, and we were informed by the doctor that she could no longer be alone. She had to have 24/7 care.
Overnight?
Overnight. She had a terminal brain tumor.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was very aggressive and fast growing, and I have two siblings, an older brother and a younger sister, but I lived the closest. Now, I was 80 miles away, but I was the closest. And at that time, my husband and I owned a business, so I was thrust into the role of caregiver for my mother.
Yeah.
My father had recently passed away, and at that time, I did not know of any type of service like this. I could have used it. It would have been such a benefit at that time. I wouldn't give up a minute that I spent with my mother, but trying to run a business 80 miles away and commuting back and forth.
It took a toll on you, yeah.
It does. And I think I could have...
So what did you do? What did you do at that time?
I had to take a leave from our business. I found a few friends and neighbors that would sit in for me so I could run back and do payroll and take care of the critical
But basically
items.
You were living in your mom's place.
That's exactly right.
And where was your home and where was her home?
We lived here in Ocala, and my mother lived in St. Augustine.
Oh, my goodness.
So I firsthand know what that's like, the emotions that go with that and the responsibility.
Right.
So Home Instead is a godsend to families that find themselves in these situations and need that care. And what impresses me most about Home Instead Senior Care, of course, Jim and Mary are personally involved in every client that we have, every caregiver that we have, and they take the care that they would take if it was their own family member, and they do that every day. They're the ones that are up in the middle of the night. They get called on the weekend.
So can I ask you kind of some personal questions?
Sure.
With your own mom, and these are obvious questions anybody might have if you're not a medical person, Did you have to understand prescriptions? Did you have to understand medical jargon? Did you have to do hands-on? Like, did you have to sponge bathe your mom? I know it's a very personal question, but those are the things I would wonder,
Yes,
I went through something similar with my mom, but she ended up in an assisted living facility.
Right.
So
I had to learn those things. I did not know those things when the change occurred. So I was willing and able. There are some family members that are not. And they need a helping hand. Although I was willing and able, I still could have used assistance and help. Jim talked about caregiver stress and the toll that it takes on them.
Well, what's interesting about this is that, and just allow me to tell you this, hospice has this wonderful program where you can die at home. Mm-hmm. But unless there's a program like what you have, there's no place to live at home. You can die at home, no problem. You can go home from the hospital, and hospice will take it, and the hospice is awesome. These are the most amazing people. But I often thought, wouldn't it be nice if there was somebody who could come in like 2 years before you die, 3 years before you die, maybe help out in those years. And this is probably the only one I've ever heard of. Mm-hmm. So,
does insurance cover this?
Some types of insurances do. We work with long-term care policies, so if a senior has a long-term care policy, they may qualify to be reimbursed for the type of care we provide. We also work with the veterans groups to have programs funded through aid and attendance, as well as some life insurance policies that can be converted to long-term care policies. So there are funding options, but for the most part, the type of care that we provide is out-of-pocket expense. And that's a challenge in this area sometimes, because many of our seniors haven't prepared for this type of care.
Do you evaluate the patients, like let's say in the hospital, and determine whether they're eligible for your program? Like, could it be possible that somebody, you're a little bit too sick, you can't go home? Yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And when we go meet with a family, we really take the time to listen and to understand what's going on within the family and with the senior. What is their living situation like? What is their environment like? And can we have a positive impact for that senior, as well as for our caregiver team? We want it to be a great experience for the mostly ladies that we send into the home to help our senior clients. Because when I have a happy caregiver making a difference for a senior, making a senior happy, we have a positive outcome time and time again. So we really evaluate, and if we're not the proper fit, the proper level of care, or if there are issues that we cannot address for one reason or another, we're the first to make those recommendations and referrals to other people, other agencies, and communities in town that can better help that family.
And if you come into the home and evaluate the senior that they do need this kind of care, can there be an extra insurance policy taken out at that time, or does this insurance policy have to be taken out before they're determined they need this kind of care?
Generally, what you find now is that the younger retirees, people that are in their 50s and 60s, are taking out those policies now with long-term care policies that cover this, so that as the current population tends to age, there'll be more people in place that have the financial
I like that.
means.
Tends to age. I'm tending to age.
We're all tending to age.
I'm tending to age. I noticed that. It's a tendency. So let me ask you, if you could tell the audience what to expect. They're going to the workshop. What are they going to hear? What are they going to learn?
Go right ahead, Sonny.
Okay, some of the topics that we're going to identify is who's at risk and what are the things that cause risk for mismanagement. As the survey showed that Jim mentioned earlier, the seniors think they're okay handling that. But there are really a couple of areas that are extremely high risk for medication mismanagement. After an illness in a hospital, you're not feeling well, there's a lot of confusion. There are a lot of changes that take place.
So just focus on that for a second. Medication mismanagement. Those two words don't sound good together.
No, they don't.
So that could be who would be at fault for that?
Well, it can be from a number of reasons, just misunderstanding or not remembering what instructions were given at the time of discharge.
Don't you hate when a prescription says half a pill?
Yes.
Don't you hate that? You got to cut it in half. Yeah.
And so this program will teach the individual or the caregiver or loved one of a senior what questions to ask, what information to have in front of you, so that it reduces that risk of mismanagement. It can be deadly. It's a very serious problem. And in the facilities that we visit, I would say, and with the caregivers out in the field that I talk to, the nurses and the physical therapists, is probably at the top of the list for concern, medication mismanagement.
Is that right? And so the workshop will help you understand. My mother used to have this calendar of little pill boxes, like 31 little plastic pill boxes, and somebody would fill them. I think a nurse would fill them.
Yes.
And so she knew, today is the 28th. I'm going to take a pill today.
Yes.
Or 3 pills, or 4 pills, or 4.5 pills.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then what happens is they have another occurrence, or they go to the doctor and the medication changes. So how do you plan for that?
Yeah.
And then what questions to ask if you're visiting a doctor? What questions to ask about the type of medications that are being prescribed? Like, why am I being prescribed this medication? What are the side effects? When do I have to take it? Can I take it with food? Do you have more information on this for me? Those type of things. And we also suggest that you have a family member, if possible, go with a senior to help take notes and understand what medications are being prescribed.
Let me ask you this: does this ever happen? One of the caregivers from Home Instead shows up at the house. Hey, Mrs. Smith, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. Let me ask you something. Mrs. Smith says, my neighbor Rosie over here, she brought over this bottle of ginkgo biloba, and she said, this is perfect from what ails me. Okay, so how do you deal with that? I didn't mean to pick on ginkgo biloba, but that word comes out, or any vitamin pill or anything
over the counter.
Yeah,
and when we recommend that when a senior goes to the doctor, they bring a list of everything they're taking, prescription drugs from the different doctors they might have visited, as well as over-the-counter medications, vitamins, and supplements, because they can have side effects too, particularly if they intermingle or interact with different types of drugs that the person might be taking. So the key thing is that to communicate to a primary doctor that can manage all of the different interactions of the medications that somebody is taking.
Well, a really great opportunity for all of us to learn tomorrow, 2 p.m. It's the Seniors Medication Management for Seniors Workshop happening over at the Bridge, and this is being presented by Home Instead Senior Care.
Yes.
Right? And are you both of you speakers tomorrow?
We'll both be there, as well as we have a registered nurse that will be speaking to, Led Marie Rodriguez from the Bridge, will be participating.
Okay.
And we also have a website. Sonny, can you just real quickly mention the website?
Home Instead Senior Care has a website called Let's Talk About RX.
Okay.
And that has a wide range of resources and tools available, and links to tools from apps to your phone that keeps a list of all your medications and drugs that you're taking.
There's an app for everything, isn't there?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I like that. All right. Jim Samuelson, good to see you again.
Yes, great to be here.
You
Thanks
look
so
great.
much.
Can't believe
Thank
you're
you.
65. Sonny Mehaffey, good to see you again. Can't believe you're 25. You look great.
Thank you.
Thank you both for coming in here. And everybody else, go tomorrow, 2 o'clock to the bridge, and you will learn something and benefit from it. We will take a break and be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala.